Good afternoon. Recently, I was trying to describe my friendship with Todd to someone who didn't know him. For as long as I knew Todd and as close as we were, I had some difficulty in finding adequate words that reflected the relationship and experiences Todd and I had together. The best way I can describe my relationship with Todd was a lifelong friendship held together by a series of meaningful vignettes, none of which were particularly earth shattering or epic or even interesting to anyone outside our circle. But those experiences, however significant or insignificant to someone else, when taken as a whole, created a connection between us that was extremely special and formed the unique mosaic that was our friendship. It was him telling me a joke his dad had told during a sermon. It was ice fishing together on a farm pond in Paris, Illinois. It was growing up together in Springfield, Illinois and attending church camp together. It was long phone calls at ungodly hours of the night and him keeping me awake while I was driving home from the airport. It was the cadence and timbre of his voice as he told me about his health concerns, his new dog, or something going on at his job. It was the two of us talking about the people, the aspirations, and the faith in God we mutually shared and cared about, and in which we encouraged one another. We had multiple bonds that formed the foundation of which our relationship was built on. We started kindergarten together in 1965 and graduated 8th grade at Christian Elementary School in Springfield, Illinois. We went to the same church and competed over the same girls from our youth group. We spent weeks together at church camp over the course of many years and were fortunate enough to attend one of the most spiritually impactful weeks during our senior year. The most significant thing about Todd, and the thing I identified with him most, was his faith in God and his salvation in Jesus Christ. He had numerous challenges in life, but in all things, he trusted in the Lord for strength, deliverance, healing, and peace. He believed in the power of prayer, and often he lifted my concerns and the concerns of my family to the Lord. We spent a lot of time in a boat fishing for crappie. After Todd moved from Springfield, Illinois to Texas, Roger Austin, Todd, and I looked forward to our annual fishing day on Gina's Pond or at Dr. Werner's cabin. At the end of the day, as the sun went down, we reluctantly packed up our gear and looked forward to the next year. But I would wish that those days would never end. We laughed and shared his telling of the Nyla story, which is something that every teenage boy dreams about, but would only happen to Todd Larsson. It won't be discussed here today, but there may or may not be a reenactment of that day on video. Todd was a promoter, and he was loyal and quite stubborn. Once Todd got behind something or someone, he was like a dog with a bone. He would bring it up, and he'd bring it up, and he'd bring it up again, until you would finally give in, just so you wouldn't have to hear about it anymore, or so you wouldn't have to see him get his feelings hurt if you weren't interested. That loyalty and stubbornness served him well when he came back to Springfield to manage and promote our band. He believed in us, and he was what we needed at the time. We spent many miles and countless hours on a makeshift tour bus, which translated means an old church bus with the back seats taken out to store equipment. While on that bus, we would argue theology, baseball, the band One Bad Pig, and the relative sound level of the show we played that night. In Todd's opinion, we were always too loud. Sometimes we would bring something up just to light him up. But here's the deal, and we all knew it. At the core of every discussion like that, every argument, I knew that he truly cared about me and he cared about others. His concerns were usually centered around how he wanted to help people he knew and how they could better see Jesus through us. That was everything to him. I miss Todd and I think about him nearly every day. I'll see something in the news, or I'll be talking to a mutual friend, or I'll hear a song on the radio, or I'll hear a great joke, and I'll just want to text or call him and share it with him. Todd was a special man, and I'm thankful to call him friend. I'm thankful for the times we spent together and the history we had. I thank God for my friend Todd, and I know he is resting well. When I last left him, he was in the hospital in Dallas. I promised him then that I would see him again, and I know I will.